You can see the changes there. 10, 13. So since visibility is really poor, I'm going to show you the graph. Notice the graph up and down, the graph down here. See the spikes? So that's another way of demonstrating the increase of the radiation, the EMF, and that's the EMF reading. And you see that spike there? That's up and down of the fluctuations of the radiation, the EMF field. So just a very, very small sample of today's tagging. So the heart is tagged. So that's around my heart. That's the right side, and that's the left side. And yesterday my chest was scanned as I was shopping. I went shopping yesterday, and so let's talk a little bit about that. So yesterday, um, I heard that the envelope was open, and I was harassed all the way to and from and during. And in the mall, I was harassed. A lot of Muslim people making comments like, "We saw you showering. Um, we could see you." And they called a Muslim's name like Surmad Khalid Badrin. These were previous informants, and so there was a lot of attempts to get reaction. So I'm going to repeat here. My reaction is to let the person know that they're harassing me and to stop. I don't carry any weapons. If there's opportunity, I just leave the area. If I'm trying to get something done and I have no recourse, I just have to get things done and be where I am, and I'm being constantly harassed, then I would let the people know that they are harassing me and to stop. Not in an aggressive fashion, but in a nonverbal way, maybe, and just to let them know uh, to stop harassing. So yesterday, I was, like, as I said, I was aggressively harassed, loudly, meant to embarrass me, meant to make me to feel humiliated, and so on. Of course, other than being upset at not being able to do what I went to do without being harassed, without constantly having to deal with the harassment. Um, it was okay. So let me rephrase that. So I tried to deal with the harassment in order to get my whatever it is I went there to do in the stores to get my tasks done. So I suspect that people call the cops because I did that. So I heard the comment being over anxious and something about depression and something about suicide and so on. So as I was walking to the grocery store, a marked cruiser drove by me, and the officer visibly checked me out. So it was safe to assume that somebody called. Um, and then when I finished my shopping, I walked out of the mall and ran into a marked car again, uh, a marked police car. And there were two heavily suited policemen in the front seats. There were two of them, heavily suited, as if they were ready to do battle. And I walked past, and I looked at the car, and I walked past. I didn't look back, but I have to say that even though there was no um, exterior indication of my being stressed out, because I have a fear, a bit of control over my emotions. Um, I was freaked out. The first thing that came to mind was, oh my God, they're going to arrest me again. And I could actually feel my heart rate going up. And I was stressed out when I came home, just thinking about the possibility of them arresting me and going through that whole process again. So whoever called the cops are responsible for all that stress, for triggering the symptoms of what now recognizing after years that I do still have by the reaction by my physiological reaction, these markers in my body and in my mental state of mind, emotional state of mind when I pass a cruiser or whether they pass me. So whoever called the cops are responsible for that. Okay, so it's an ongoing thing here, so I'm being monitored, visibly so. I'm going to download the data and load it up. Um, I am being harassed outside the window right now. The contractors are constantly making remarks about used to be, it's absoluted that I used to be a prostitute. They're calling the cop's name. They're talking about being picked up. They're talking about downloading a form to have me um, committed to get another ticket, another receipt, another flag constantly. They're working on the walls outside my window. And even though they're high, they're talking so loud I could hear it inside my living room. So the harassment is ongoing and the stress is ongoing. But as I had mentioned before, I take a lot of steps to deal with the stress. Um, I also changed my attitude towards the whole targeting program because I really do believe, as time go on, there is a better and a deeper understanding of why it's taking place, and an understanding also of how pervasive it is. I'm really not the only target around in the area. A lot of people are being targeted, not publicly, but they're still being targeted. So maybe they're not even recognizing the signs of being targeted. So I want to talk about something I tweeted about, and that is connecting to each other um, mentally. I know there is a chip, of course. You could connect to people using chips and connect to computers using chips. But for people who have ESP, and ESP is something that's well documented, this is not science fiction, it's science. People who are able to tune into other people's brainwaves um, instinctively. And because you're tuned in, it's like tuning in to a radio band, a radio bandwidth, and getting and hearing the sound, like a radio tuning into a certain station, getting the sound coming through. Well, that's much like how ESP works. You're tuning in to somebody's brainwave frequencies, and you're getting their thoughts come through. So this is something that a few human beings are born with. Um, I always thought it really strange that I could almost predict what people could say before they say it. Maybe it's a form of ESP. I'm now suspecting that maybe it is. And it comes also with meditation. So the more you meditate and the more in tune you are with yourself and the more in tune you are with the, um, the natural frequencies of the earth and of the universe, you will also be in tune with other people's brainwave patterns as well. So this will come. You can not only be born with it, you can develop it. Um, so could you imagine a world, and I just wanted to make a commentary on that. So could you imagine a world where take out the government and take out any authority figure or any um, agencies that have power over you. And imagine a world where just normal human beings come together. And maybe first we'll need the chip, maybe. But imagine a world where we could use the technology to meditate and get ourselves naturally in tune with the natural frequencies of the earth and the universe. So we can naturally, without a chip, tune into other people's thoughts when we want to. You can turn it on and off, just like a chip. But imagine developing our own ability, our natural ability that we're born with as a human being. The human body is a developed body. We're living in a computer because it's an electrical vehicle that we live in. And we can fine tune it and develop it to the point where we can make it act, not act, but perform the way it's supposed to perform. Because in a sense, it is a computer. It's electrical. So we can develop our bodies and our nervous system and our brain, which is only a part of the controlling factor, I would call it. I mean, the brain doesn't really control. The control is in every part of our body. Um, at least that's what I'm starting to understand. I could be wrong. You could do your own research on that. So anyways, we could develop ourselves to communicate with each other without the use of a computer, without the use of a cell phone, without the use of a chip. We have that ability. Now, if we take a chip and take a shortcut, because a lot of us, including myself, are lazy, um, we can put a chip inside of us and then we could communicate with each other and download each other's thoughts and each other's emotions. But that's really a one-sided approach to it. So in order to become fully integrated as humans rather than robots, you need to bring in the emotions because the emotions is what makes us humans. It's what makes us emotional IQ is just as important as intellectual IQ. And emotional IQ is what makes us different from a robot or um, animals from on a lesser level in the animal kingdom. So we need to bring the emotion into the equation in order to balance out the purely intellectual side of being um, of putting the chip in, being roboticized. Because if you go purely by the chip, you're only going to be using one side of your brain, the left side. I think it's the left side. The right side being the emotional side. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that. I think I got that right. So anyway, um, if you do put a chip in, and we will choose to. A lot of people already are. Um, don't forget the emotions because without the emotions, we are going to be in deep, 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 deep. You know what? We're going to destroy ourselves, and this is where we are at right now. So the positive side of being a target, well, you got to realize all the stuff that I just talked about. In other words, in every challenge, there is an opportunity to grow and to learn. And once you do that, you get past the crime itself, because targeting is a deeply satanic, heinous crime. But once you understand why it's being done, how it's being done, what effects are supposed to take place, what results are being expected, then you can go beyond that. Then you can negate the results that that is expected, and do just the opposite, because satanic uh, um, pieces of crap want satanic results. Um, so you do just the opposite. You give them good results, positive results, emotional results, frustrate the hell out of them. I'm putting a lighter spin on this when it's really a dark, 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 dark um, topic, and a really um, the crime of targeting and satanic ritual abuse is just that: satanic, dark, diabolical, evil. And those words don't do justice to the depth of evil that is possible. Human beings can send a rocket to the moon and can develop computers that are so powerful that a handheld computer could send a rocket to the moon. But on the other side, the flip side of that is we also develop weapons that torture, horrendously torture and kill. So we're able to do good and we're able to do bad. We just choose to do a lot of bad stuff more than we choose to do good for short-term gains, money, basically money. But if we were to develop ourselves emotionally and intellectually both, and take both technology and marry it to the emotional side of us and bring in the emotional IQ and marry it with the intellectual IQ that comes with a chip, then we will be fine. The trouble we're in right now is that we are going left brain, and we should try to bring the right brain back into the equation. Talk to you another time.